We've heard some good examples about how you can get involved in partnerships. I would just add, briefly, my experience with it as well has been more on a syndicate level. I would guess I would compare in partnerships being more, it's clarified. This individual with this one, and this is how we're going to manage it and such. Syndicates would be more, I think, that those individuals are more silent partners necessarily and are managed by others, either the trainer or somebody else who's been designated as kind of the head person to make those decisions for otherwise investors that might be considered silent partners in a syndicate. One of those that you'll see running here at Del Mar specifically is called Great Friends Stable. It's just another example, and I'm actually involved in a management role as I had described for that, and communicating with the trainers and helping to make those decisions. It's a group of about 18 to 20 investors that again don't really know much about racing but love it. They're from the San Diego area as a general rule, and so they want to have horses that run at Del Mar, and they've chosen that they would rather make sort of a silent investment and have myself and also a couple of the other individuals that sort of head up the management team work with the trainers, make those decisions, and show up here to Del Mar and watch their horses run and enjoy it that way. As Gary described, they don't expect to get that small investment back, but you can get lucky. Last year we had the idea of just mostly claiming, as was described by Pablo, a number of horses here to get that immediate action because they want the horses to run here right now. You'll see in your programs today there are many claiming races where they can all be bought for a certain price with sales tax, of course, in California. And we expected just to kind of run some horses, win some races, and have fun, which we did. And the lucky part we got was a horse named Mr. Chairman who won a race called the California Cup Classic up at Oak Tree at Santa Anita. So as Gary described, he was the one that pretty much paid for the other claiming horses that either broke even or we got our action out of them, but after the bills, probably took a slight loss realistically on all of those. So you're hoping for that one star to kind of get you out, but the highs can be very high. So that's just another example of a syndicate versus a partnership and a way that individuals could get involved for a certain amount of money. So now we're going to do a question and answer period. I'll come around and would you put your hands up and we'll just go ahead and go one by one that way. But as I do, why don't you give a hand of applause and thanks for our guests again today, Matt Chu, Gary Fenton, and Pablo Suarez for their time and contributions.
My question is for Gary. Are these racing partnerships typically limited or general partnerships? And are there capital calls on the investors?
Our partnerships are LLCs, so they are limited partnerships. Your initial investment is all the money that you would ever have to pay. It usually covers 1 year's of expenses, and after a year, if the horse has not run or has not run well and we have run out of cash, then we will have a capital call. As a member of a limited liability corporation, you have the option to opt out at that point. If you do opt out, you lose all interest in the horse, but at the end of a year, if you don't like the way the partnership is going, if you don't like the way the horse is going, you are free to not invest any more money and to pull out of the partnership. It's one of the advantages of being with Little Red Feather or some of the other partnership groups or any partnership group that has set up an LLC, is that once you put in your initial investment, you do not have to put in any more money. It's one of those things we've been trying to actually eliminate because we don't think it's fair for 15 people to get involved in a horse and then at the end of the year have 2 of them decide, you know what, I don't like it, so I'm going to stick the bills with the other 13. So we've been trying to work with that so that when people get involved with a horse, that they know that the expenses involved with the horse for the life of the horse are going to be theirs. Now that can be a little scary for some people, but at the end of the day, we pretty much know what the fixed costs of horses are. In general, for a Little Red Feather horse with accounting and all the other little fees that go ahead, get attached with it, it's about $50,000 a year for a horse that is in training. And with a particular horse, with an average horse that runs 2 years, 3 years, sometimes 4 years, the more they run, or the longer they run, the more money that they're making. So you never really have to worry about expenses if they're going to run longer than a couple of years. So if you figure in a worst case scenario that your horse is never going to run or going to get hurt or not win any purses, you're really only going to be out 2 to 3 years of expenses and the initial cost. So we're trying to get it so that although you're involved in a limited liability corporation, you're still involved with expenses.
Yeah, Matt, what's the most common mistake that new owners make?
Well, generally they're led into the game with unrealistic expectations. Like Gary pointed out, is whatever you plan to put into the game, just pretend you're going to flush it down the toilet, and and just don't use your kid's college fund. Don't use your retirement fund. I had a client come last year that actually took a second mortgage out on their house to buy a racehorse, and I advised them against it, and they did it anyway. It's about the most insane thing you can do. When you enter into this game, it is for entertainment value, and the nice thing is, usually between 40 and 50% of the money you do spend in there is going to be, written off. So you're only playing with, 40 or 50 to 60% real dollars, but do consider this as a form of entertainment. Do not expect to get rich owning horses.
And this is for Matt. Just as a rule of thumb, how much of a horse's success is considered to come from the horse, how much from the trainer, and then how much of what happens during the race?
Matt, can I answer that? Because Matt will never say it. It's 100% based on the trainer.
He says he doesn't believe that.
Thank you, Gary. But basically, it's 90% the horse. I mean, if you don't have it's like any other job. If you don't have the tool to do the job, you're not going to get it done. And you have to have the horse. I mean, most trainers, I mean, everybody out here that, especially in Southern California, is pretty darn good at their job. There's not a lot that actually separates us, except for the quality of horses we have behind our webbings and the ability to put those horses back there.
I'd like to follow up to that. A big thing that you owners can play, and depending on how you are in the game, you have to realize, as much as you love the animal and love the horses and go feed it carrots, this is a business, so you got to treat it like a business. So if your horse is a $16,000 claiming horse, you can't be running it in an allowance race, or a 50 claimer, a 40 claimer, day in and day out every time it races. You're going to break the horse's spirit. But the way to make money is to win races. And the way to win races is to put the horses in spots where they can win, in the competition where they can win. If you're running an 8th grader against high school students, they're never going to win. They're never going to win. They're going to break their spirits. But sometimes you can make money. You can claim a $16,000 horse, and you can run it in a $12,500 claiming race a month later and still make money, because the purses, especially here at Del Mar, are so good. You're going to get 60% of a $22,000 purse, and the 12.5 claiming if somebody did claim it from you, plus the purse, you're gonna come out ahead. You can make money. You just need to be realistic when you buy them. It's not a lifelong pet. You're not going to keep it forever. You got to run them where they need to run and try and win races so you can make money. And because they say that you never go broke selling a horse. So you just got to keep them moving and get the next one in and go from there. That's going to make you appreciate your experience a whole lot more.